I think a couple of you have heard this already, but I'm going to read from the first chapter of my novel, We Cast a Shadow. And this short section takes place at the end of the first chapter. And this part of the book, since it's so early, there's not much to know, except that the main character is an African-American lawyer in a future southern city. 50 years in the future, unnamed city. He is so fearful of white supremacy and what it might do to his son, he decides to take his mixed-race son, who's half white, and try to make him all white. And so in order to effectuate that, he wants to get a raise and use that money for the surgery. And so right now he is at a Southern law firm reception / hazing / costume party, dressed as a Roman centurion. But he recognizes that he will not win the contest of the most embarrassing costume dressed like that. So he's getting assistance from his boss, Octavia, who wants to help him embarrass himself. So the second fact to know is that Octavia is dressed as Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. She's carrying Toto. Toto was a cat, and Toto was wearing a wig. So we'll start right there. I think I know it by heart now. I don't know how I missed that statue at the back of the gallery. There he is. I don't know how I missed the giant figure just inside the door back to the gallery. He was easily twice the size of the other guards in the room. And he wore a toga. And he had a beard that would have made Jerry Garcia proud. Imagine that. Actually, given my boss Octavia's wealth, it could have been Jerry Garcia's actual beard. That statue, he held a lightning bolt. Zeus, that was who I needed to be. You see, Zeus was a shameless choice in my quest to climb the social step stool. Who could fault me for choosing to be the ruler of Mount Olympus? Yeah, the victory was close at hand. Impossibility whisked me away. I wondered whether the virtuoso plastic surgeon I had in mind for my son Nigel's procedure preferred credit cards or cashier's checks. I imagined my boy's wedding day in the distant future. His cheeky face is flawless as a seaside sunrise. But no, I couldn't be Zeus. If I returned to that party as the king of gods, the shareholders would think I was conceited, crass, uppity. I had to find a costume that would give me a fighting chance against Franklin's step and fetch uniform and Riley's 20 to life. I had to sink to the level of my shareholders' expectations. You see, my fellow black associates fit in better than I did because, well, folk were used to seeing black waiters taking care of tourists or black convicts being led to work in neck shackles. There was a comfort in these familiar images, as reassuring as steaming apple pie or drones dropping barrel bombs on terrorists. As Zulu chief stared over my head, I just had to fulfill an expectation, right? I had to say yes just one more time, right? Examining the various fasteners and clips of a remnant barely large enough to cover a child's bottom, I thought, I can totally do this. Once I finished changing, I inhaled, I threw my shoulders back, and I descended that curving staircase with all the resolve of an overlooked but hopeful debutante. Now, I anticipated a collective pause. And people noticed me. And there was a pause. You see, entering a crowded room full of intoxicated lawyers, wearing nothing but a loincloth, leg tassels, and a feathery headdress, is bound to attract some attention. What I didn't expect was that old Jack Armbruster who prided himself on never spilling so much as a molecule of bourbon. Dropped his highball glass, and it shattered against the marble with a satisfying crack. Liquor spread, a pale imitation of lifeblood. And I gazed out at those shareholders in the room. A zombie pilgrim, a cheerful Madame LaLaurie, a very short, honest Abe. All silent for what felt to me like an hour at the bottom of the ocean's deepest trench. Arm Rooster whipped out his silk handkerchief from his blazer. And I think he was that millionaire from Gilligan's Island. But it was hard to tell because, he kind of always dressed that way. And he wiped his mouth with a flick. We all watched him for a moment. And he chuckled one time and clapped his hands one time, and the whole room burst into applause. And I realized that I walked out smack into the middle of the judging ceremony. You see, the other associates, Franklin and Riley, my frenemies, they had been cleared out, probably into that field behind the mansion. The big plate glass windows reflected the interior of the room, the shareholders and myself. But by concentrating, I caught a glimpse of that world beyond the mirror. And sure enough, amid the rest of the security personnel who guarded Octavia's neighborhood with machine guns and rifles and grenades and tanks, I saw Riley and Franklin staring at me from that grass, their faces featureless in the spectral mansion glow. And they clapped too. My chest tightened as if somebody was squeezing my lungs from inside of my chest. And then the drum beat kicked in. You see, the firm had hired an Afro-Cuban quartet. Trumpet, keys, drums, and congas. Possibly sensing a chance to fill their tip bucket, the band started into a dark, tribal beat. Not the kind of rhythm that rock and roll was built on, no. But the kind of rhythm that predated blue suede, rock around the clock, please, please fight for your right to party by at least 1,000 years. So I danced. I wasn't a dancer, but I was a decent mimic. And I watched Mardi Gras Indians bug jump my entire life. I've seen folk around my neighborhood twerk and peep-pop. I've seen crackheads have seizures. Facing those shareholders, I couldn't see myself just then, but if I could have sprung from my own body and watched myself from Zeus's perch upstairs, I would have seen a skinny, nearly naked Negro in a sumo squat, flapping his arms and legs like they were on fire. People laughed at me, and they imitated my movements. Flashes popped. That videographer swung in for a close-up. It's a strange thing to feel so alive, even as a part of your soul turns to gold, to cold green goo and oozes out of your heel. Every time I raised my spear, they cheered louder. And the higher I raised it, the louder they cheered. And then suddenly the music shifted, like a runaway tour bus transitioning from cliff to air. Silence. Arm Rooster covered his mouth with that handkerchief and his eyes were locked on me. Octavia, she fanned herself. And somewhere in the back of the room, a camera clicked twice. It must have been the buzz of the alcohol and pill that delayed the feeling of licking breeze across my lower body. You see, that loincloth had come undone. And I was as naked as a peeled egg. Do you know how eerie it is for 100 people to go completely quiet at the sight of your manhood? Total, the cat ran over. And I backed into the wall, all eyes on me against the world. And I snatched him up, using his furry body like a pom-pom. And I stumbled out of that mansion's back door and into the field. Thank you.